What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast all about everything PC gaming related. I'm one of your hosts, Germ Gaming. Tonight, I am joined by Dave, the Evil Viking 13.
That's not my tagline.
The not so evil Viking 13.
Branding error.
We're not joined by Joel and James as usual. Joel is in Disney World, but we are going to try to call him at some point. Tonight, we are joined by Scanner Barkly.
Hello.
And Squantoon.
Hello.
Hey guys, welcome to the podcast.
All right.
Sleazy Company representing.
Exactly, yeah.
You're up in your class of guests.
People so everyone on this podcast right now likes ARMA. That definitely is a record for us.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what happens if we just ask you guys for mod pack advice for the next hour and a half? And everyone else just has to sit there and they just close it.
Yeah, you'd have no viewers, but you'd have a great fucking ARMA experience by the end of it.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'll wrap it up now. Hardline sucks. Let's talk about ARMA.
It's coming out, guys.
All right, yeah, we are going to be talking about Battlefield Hardline tonight, but really quick, just a little bit of Patreon housekeeping. We want to thank two people. Of course, we're going to have Joel read your names and his weird voices next week. But for now, Chris, or Super Jayhawk, pledged. Thank you very much, Chris. And TJ Watts upped his pledge, so thank you guys very much.
Nice.
And
TJ.
We announced last week that we are starting something called CSG Servers. We're kind of doing it as a pilot program, where for the next 3 months, we're hosting an Insurgency server. We invite you guys to come out and play with us, and we're actually going to be doing that tonight at 10:15 Eastern Standard Time after the podcast. So hop into the Teamspeak and come play Insurgency with us.
Instead of Hardline.
Instead of Hardline. Also, another
Spoiler
Patreon
alert.
thing. Patreon paid for the Potato Masher, as you know. And cool thing with the Potato Masher this week, after some very questionable security configuration stuff on my router, we now have a working ARMA 3 dedicated server. This really mostly benefits Dave, because now his hexacore computer won't be thrashing on Core 0 just to host and play ARMA at the same time.
The last mission was 99% for 3 hours on Core 0.
Hey, yeah, but you got a nice processor and liquid cooling, so I feel good about you doing it.
But the whole time I was so paranoid. I'm like, we're 2 hours into this mission. We have another hour and a half to go before it's over. If my client crashes, we're restarting the whole thing again. I was on ice the whole time.
So instead, we're going to host it all off of a computer built out of 5-year-old used parts. Is that your plan?
Yeah, because if the server goes down... Well, no, we're still screwed.
Yeah, we're still screwed, but your computer's been crashing right and left lately because you bought a GTX 970. So
970-ish.
Can't they just run a headless client on the Potato Masher? That'd be fine.
Oh, yeah, it works great. It's not going to be an issue.
Nice.
The great part was, it was 2 hours of work for me to get this awesome config. There's so many tools out there for modders and ARMA. We had this awesome config tool for the server, super easy. 2 hours that done, and then 3 weeks of us trying to get Jeremiah's router to let the server see the internet.
See, the thing is, I am one of the lucky Americans in that I actually have a choice of ISP. I have 2 great ISPs to choose from. The bad thing is the ISP with all the really fast speeds that I like, they also have really, really crappy routers that you have to use because it's fiber optic. And I tried to use my router on the other end of it, my good router, but I just couldn't get the ports to open for ARMA. So we're going to be experimenting with that. We're not ready to go live with our first ARMA mission on that, but hopefully sometime next week we'll be doing that. So
Yes.
If you need help with that dedicated server, there's a nerd in chat who goes by the name of Aaron. He jerks off to that shit every night. He runs our ARMA server on an AMD machine in his house.
Nice.
Sweet. All right. Well, if we need help, we will definitely ask you, Squantoon, for his contact info. I'm not doing any of the technical information. Like I say, if we need help, if Dave needs help.
I follow Aaron on Twitter. I think actually the next stage might be headless client stuff to get that next level of AI going. So
yes,
there is an AI issue with headless client, just so you know. Sometimes they get taken over as super AI, and your AI mod won't work with them. We ran into the issue.
Yes, super AI does not sound like something that Casual Shenanigans seems to be messing with.
It'll lead to some interesting variables in your mission, though.
Dave modified his last mission, so they were basically shooting Nerf bullets, and we just barely made it out of there alive. So yeah.
We all got to the end of the mission, and there were 3 deaths between the 8 of us for the entire almost 4-hour mission.
One of those doesn't count, and then the other 2 were a helicopter crash.
Yeah, everyone was patting themselves on the back, great medic work, guys. We worked together as a team. We came out of this with almost no deaths, and I was I don't want to tell you guys this, but I had an AGM health modifier. You guys had half damage that whole mission.
But it was fun.
God damn it.
Have you fought ISIS
could-
yet? The new
Yeah,
ISIS?
we
Oh.
could use that in some of, like, we're taking on hundreds and hundreds of fucking ISIS motherfuckers right now. That's our benchmark. If we finish a mission and there's less than 150 dead ISIS on the other side, we're like, yeah, that wasn't that good.
Terrible night. Yeah, Squantoon, you'll appreciate this. I dumped that Iraqi warfare mod with the ISIS faction in our new mod pack back in December. And along with the mod pack, our test mission to make sure that you have it all installed correctly is you just load into an Iraqi airbase with like a plethora of armor and helicopters and Navy SEALs, and like the city is full of ISIS, and you just like
Nice.
keep crashing stuff, shooting stuff, launching. There's like artillery. It's like an ISIS massacre simulator for testing your mod pack.
We've been in an Apache lately, the RHS Apache. We've been fucking them up with that thing. It's fucking legit.
I just tried that out. Bad news, Jeremiah. I'm making some changes for March.
Great.
It's like 4 gigs too.
Don't
RHS is
apologize to me.
big.
Apologize to everyone who has to download the mod pack again.
You said though that as long as we run some missions right, am I not making us missions, Jeremiah?
You are making us missions.
That's right.
All right, on to the main topic before we really devolve into ARMA. Battlefield
Yeah, it gets worse from here, guys.
Hardline. Okay, so Battlefield Hardline, just in case anyone doesn't happen to know what it is, it's the next Battlefield game, centering on the modern day Battlefield, which is cops and robbers in LA. It is as far as I can tell, it's a homage to Payday 2 using the Battlefield 4 engine. That was delayed for 5 months or something so they could fix stuff. They're doing their second beta this week. It's an open beta. Anyone can play. And we've all been playing it for at least a few hours. And now we're going to talk about it. Disclaimers. I think we have been at one point pretty big Battlefield fans, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know for me and Dave, at least, like Battlefield, even back to the Battlefield 2 and, earlier than that days, like we've played pretty much every Battlefield. So we're all pretty informed about Battlefield as a series. So with that said, we're going to start with what do we like about Battlefield Hardline? What's Battlefield Hardline doing well?
It's got police cars. I like police cars.
I know Dave mentioned in a video that he likes all the lights.
Honestly, I like cops and robbers games. It's, I wish it was better.
No, stuff you like.
what?
Try, Dave. Try.
I like the music. The radios, I actually was not expecting that. That was a very fun feature for the multiplayer.
A nice
Being able to
diversion.
listen to music.
Yeah, like the in-game car radios. That was actually a lot of fun, I think.
Okay. What about like the gameplay?
That's a more difficult proposal.
All right,
Let's talk about hotwire mode.
Okay, all right, hotwire mode. All right.
With friends, I mean, this is one of those things where with friends, just about anything could be fun. I mean, you could like be getting tortured in an ISIS prison, but hanging out with friends, maybe
Sure.
it's
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, hotwire is a lot of fun. I think it's best when you're doing those stupid circles and then you end up with like a convoy by accident, and then the other team's like trying to wreck your convoy of just points gathering machines. I think some of the best Battlefield style moments I've seen in the beta have been in Hotwire, where I feel like in Hotwire mode, at least, most people can figure out what the objective is, unlike Heist. So another plus for Hotwire mode. But yeah, I think that mode's definitely the most fun I've had in the beta.
Yeah, but hotwire mode is literally just, hey, the points are cars. That's it. Like, that's all
an
the
excuse
extra
for
work that went
chases.
into it.
Yeah, but it's awesome because 4 people will get in a point, drive around, and then I'll blow them up with a fucking RPG.
You mean an M5K?
So or an M5K. Anything at all will blow up those cars. You can one-shot them with a fucking 870 Magnum, so who gives a crap?
And Scanner, what do you like about Hardline?
There's actually quite a lot that I genuinely like about the game. I like the fact that this is going to get a giggle, but I'm not even being facetious. I like Hardline not being Battlefield 4 a lot. Like, there was some massive inherent design and mechanics flaws
Yes.
in BF4 that were just terrible. They resulted in, for me, a piss poor attempt at a game, let alone something that I enjoy as much as Battlefield. Hardline has taken a lot of that shit out. There's no UCAVs. There's no fucking SUAVs. There's no flying future guns. There's no hover tanks.
Yeah.
There's no fucking rail weapons.
Wow, it sounds like this is stuff in
There's
in all
no
the DLC
magic
I missed.
shield.
Yeah.
There's
You
no
know what
magic
I mean?
shield in all the vehicles.
Like there's none of this like, oh yeah, you know, we need something that excuses people who are terrible when it comes to tanking, so let's just put this stop damage button into the game so that they don't have to position, they don't have to worry about anything, they can just roll around like fucking gomies and not die. It'll be great. Like
And
they
without it,
removed
no one can
all that
compete.
shit, which is great. Lock on anything is incredibly rare. You don't have a super overpowered mobile AA just like clawing at you the second you spawn into a fucking jet.
Oh, that is a nice feature. I'd forgotten about that. Is there even AA in Hardline?
No, there's no jets. There's no real air to speak of. Like
There's
it's
stingers, isn't there?
yeah, there's like a pickup stinger to deal with like the helis that are there, but you know,
You get, like,
who's shit
2
about that?
shots.
You just
Yeah.
RPG it out
But
of
you
the
can
sky.
shoot them down with SMGs anyway.
Yeah. So like there's plenty there that's good. There's lots of nice little quality of life changes, like being able to just take ammo off a support guy and just take health off a medic, and little boxes of medicine and ammunition will be strewn about levels anyway. It does have like I'd actually be happier if I just flat out hated it and if I thought it was complete garbage. I'd be like, that's fine. It's absolute shit. It's the same as BF4 in that it doesn't appeal to me in the slightest, and I can just go play the fucking 500 plus other games I have on my PC.
Mhm.
But unfortunately for me, there is stuff that I do actually enjoy about the game. Like, man, I must have more row kills in Hardline than in any Battlefield. Like, if you take all the previous Battlefields combined and put them together, I have run more people the fuck over in Hardline, and I love that. That
Squantoon,
appeals to me.
what do you like?
I love the K-10. It's the new MTAR. I've one-shot 3 guys earlier with 2 bullets. And I love recoil. Like, there's recoil in the game. People are crying about it, but I actually really enjoy that they made it at least a little bit skill-based.
Yeah.
Hotwire's a good mode if it was in a good game, I think. Like, I love going, although I spawned on a guy the other day who was in the C flag, and he had C4 on it, and he ghosted it into the D flag and blew them both up. That was kind of dumb, but I like the mode itself because you're always moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm done.
All right, cool. So we've done lip service to things we like about Hardline. No, I guess I'll finish. The I like about Hardline. It does seem like they've polished up quite a few things from Battlefield 4. I do like. It seems like they have reduced the number of weapons. Am I wrong in that, or am I just not seeing them? Like, it looks like they have streamlined the equipment list a little bit.
I think that's more with limited arsenals available within the beta than
Dang it.
anything else.
Ah, dang it. All right. Well,
Nah, you see, because this is the way Battlefields always work. So available right now is basically every weapon in the game, and what will be available in the full release will be tiny variations statistically on what is available.
Oh yeah,
now.
it's basically like buying a Counter-Strike weapon skin. Just the skin looks like a different weapon for some reason.
It's a different model, same damage model.
Yeah. Which to me, that was one of the worst things about Battlefield 4 was like, at one point, it's just like, I don't need 35 different assault rifles. They all shoot 5.56 or 7.62. Like, it doesn't matter. It's just, give me one good gun that works and I don't care. But I guess I thought Battlefield Bad Company 2 had like the best weapon mixture, like the right number of weapons. There was a good variation. They were all unique. But yeah. So now we're going to talk about things that we think Hardline has room to improve in. Does anyone have something they'd like to start with?
Yes.
All right, Scanner, you have the floor.
What I would like to see is this pretense being dropped that it is a vast improvement over the hit detection and all that shit
It's barely any different.
as experienced in BF4.
Yep.
Like, I'd love to see the community, like my fellow content makers and players, just sit there and realistically think for 2 seconds without that buzzing erection of excitement that they're all running around with right now, and just think, is this actually improved? I would like them to examine their own behavior upon the launch of BF4 and not do exactly the same thing this time, because they will. There'll be 3 months where all these people are like, oh yeah, it's fun and it's great and all the rest of it. And then one of the bigger YouTubers his little baby nuts will all pucker up and he'll get real big boy pants on. And he'll be like, right, I'm going to make a video about the hit detection because somebody needs to do it. Ignoring the fact that for the 3 previous months, this conversation has been had 1,000 times without him. And he'll make his video, and then they'll all start making those videos, and they'll all be willing to say it after the gravy train has, when those invites and when those access codes and when all this shit, when you're no longer worried
you've already gotten
about
your
that.
series out about how to unlock and which the best assault rifle and what's the best every single rifle in every class.
The best gun gun, the best class setup, the worst class setup, the comedy video, the video where you all play with your friends once a week, the video where you play against your friend once a week, the video where you just straight up steal somebody else's idea and then pretend like it's your video.
Don't forget about shooting walls.
Yeah, shooting walls.
Oh yeah, we gotta check the recoil somehow.
Yeah, the old fucking X Factor special. I'm gonna shoot a wall because I've got nothing else to fucking do. It's like I want that to stop, and I want the devs to get actual, honest feedback from the community, because I truly, in my heart of hearts, do not believe that is currently occurring. It can't possibly be occurring, because then they'd all be sat there going, we know it's very similar to the issues you're experiencing in BF4.
Well, it can't be occurring because
it is.
Because not to rag on any big YouTubers, but the ones that are getting flown out for all these events and stuff are the same ones whose income largely depends on people wanting to watch their Battlefield content.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like why you can't really consider anyone on YouTube to be a journalist or anything, anyone who takes ad revenue, because it's not in anyone who has enough people watching them that it actually is worth some money. They don't really have an option. Either they make the videos everyone wants to watch talking about, oh, this gun's different than this gun by 0.5%. And hey, look, this is kind of a retread of everything last year, but it's magically new and different. Like either they do that or they don't make a lot of money. And I mean, I see where they're coming from. I don't like it, but I see why they're doing it. But yeah, I agree with you. It's the same dog and pony show that we've seen with every Call of Duty game and Battlefield for like the last 4 years.
That's the cycle now. The cycle is 3 months it's good. After that, everybody's going to call it shit. And everybody will give me grief right now if I sit here and go, it's not that good, which it's not. It's not that good. And I'm sure certain quarters would wish that I would just stop saying that. But here's the difference between me and them. My message in 12 months' time will be identical to my message now. Theirs will have changed to my message. Exactly the fucking same as BF4. So, everybody can just fucking blow me.
Well, the YouTube subject,
Scanner, stop being so consistent.
The YouTube thing is my favorite because I'm selfish and I like seeing people in pain. And if someone made it big enough on YouTube to get invited to events, they're at least a little bit smart, and they in their heart know the game is shit. But for the next 8 months, they have to love the game and they can't do nothing but play it because that's all they fucking survive on. And I fucking cry every time I see them upload another shit video that they know it sucks, but they can't fucking say it because they won't be back out there when BF5's released.
Yeah.
Also, RIP Battlefront.
Yeah.
Hashtag never forget.
No.
The only thing I was talking about this on Twitter the other day. The only thing that saves Battlefront is if you can make the argument that it's the future and everything's a laser and you can just do hit scan.
Yeah, I would be totally fine with them doing hit scan for that. Just I'd be fine with them switching stuff to hit scan now if it just fixed the issues.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Now it's not hit scan. It's like throwing a boomerang bullet.
I understand why people like Hardline. I swear to Christ, I do. I get it. I was playing the game earlier. I had my junk in the trunk perk, which gives me an RPG and whatever the fuck I'm driving. And I drive past the bad guy, I jump out, and I RPG him, and they explode, and it looks awesome, and it feels cool. And I'm making an intro to tomorrow's video earlier, and I'm really getting into it. I'm finding my music, and I've got my fucking explosions happening on the bass drops and shit, and I'm like, yeah, this is good. I can make money if I give a fuck with Hardline. You can make it look good. You know, the content writes itself because it's not a complicated game. The player base appears to be subpar. So
That was nice.
so
It's the
there's a
same
big,
player base as BF4. It hasn't changed at all. They've just moved.
yeah, so there's a big audience for videos explaining the simplest of concepts. And I understand the appeal of that if I were to do this as a job. But because I don't do it as a job, I get to sit here and take sly digs at bigger YouTubers and talk about how the games they love are shit. That's what I enjoy in life.
It's a small thing.
So, well, all right. So besides, it basically being a retread of Battlefield 4 in a different setting, let's be specific though. Like, okay, so setting aside the fact that it basically has all the issues that Battlefield 4 had, what's the new stuff about it? Like all the things they are doing differently, why does some of that stuff suck? I've got my opinions, but I want to hear you guys's.
Honestly, not much of the new stuff sucks for me.
Really?
Yeah, like I love the cops and criminals thing. That shit cracks me up.
yeah.
To think like, this is where we are now. We've got like 16 cops with M16s taking on 16 criminals with shotguns in fucking an empty downtown LA.
Don't forget parachutes. Never forget.
The demands for immersion are huge, and because of that, I'm actually like I'm loving it the way I'd love like a cheap fucking B movie.
Yeah.
That's how I'm treating this game, with that kind of love, that kind of kitschy fucking whatever. Like the BF4 for me was impossible to get past because you had all the fucking engine issues that I was seeing, and then you had all the design issues that I'm seeing. Hardline is actually potentially something I can play without punching myself in the face. Because I only have to deal with problems from one of those camps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Instead of having to deal with shitty ass fucking, dying in one shot and then being told that that's completely fixed. And then being told that actually it's not. And then being told that the reason you can't kill that guy behind that other guy is because that guy was recently revived. So he's a fucking wall for the next 10 seconds. And then when that's solved, they figure out that, oh yeah, when you get shot, your screen doesn't tell you. Your screen is like, but nah. And the other guy's screen is like, totally got you. And then you die and it feels like a one shot. But that's not a legitimate one shot bug, so it's unfair to say that that's a one shot bug. I don't have to deal with all of that.
It only just feels like it.
Plus getting hit in the rectum with UCAVs the second I spawn into the fucking game. So I can live with Hardline. I'm never going to say it's a good fucking game. That's it. Like, that's the joy of being me. I'm contrary. I don't have to adore something to fucking play it.
No, that's very true. And you can appreciate something as being like a B movie. I get that about Hardline. At first, I thought they were just trying too hard to be cool, like too hard to be hardcore. But Dave mentioned he thought they were just being
campy.
Yeah, they were being campy on purpose. And when I looked at it with that mindset, I was like, yeah, I can buy that. Like, it seems pretty campy.
The voices are so over the top, the dialogue and whatnot. You gotta just get into it.
For me,
check that helicopter, motherfucker. It's like, was that really necessary?
For me, the thing that breaks it though, so much of the game revolves around driving, and I love driving games. I've played pretty much every popular driving game there is, and I will stand by this. Battlefield Hardline has the worst driving mechanics I have ever used in a game. It is the worst. It's like driving a heavy SUV with no power steering until you hit a certain speed, at which point it's like a SUV driving on ice. It develops ice skates. There are no physics to speak of. Like, the physics totally depend on the situation. There's no consistent handling model. There's no consistent braking model. Okay, let me put it this way. EA's other... Not forget Need for Speed, because that stopped being real Need for Speed like 7 years ago. Their most arcadey, over-the-top, unrealistic driving series ever, Burnout, has better driving physics than Battlefield. It is painfully bad. I've played like 4 hours now, and I still can't get the vehicles to handle the way any vehicle should. Like, there's no consistency. Anytime you hit anyone else, the game does this weird dance where I'm guessing it's the slow tick rate. It's trying to figure out, wait, who hit who? Who's on top of who? Who's flying into who? Who's throwing someone off something? It doesn't matter how big your vehicle is when you hit somebody else. All vehicles, as far as I can tell, are pretty much the same.
That's a good point. Like, they all have the same mass during collisions.
Yeah, it's like I've run a dirt bike into an SUV, and we both like, shuddered back and forth, and one went on top of each other, and there was a lot of stuttering, and then we both went on our way, like nothing ever happened. Like, it's the worst driving. It's not, and it's, one thing in Battlefield 4, I thought it sucked too. But in Battlefield 4, like, you could just drive a vehicle to a point and hop out and never had to deal with it. There are entire game modes in Hardline where you're supposed to be driving vehicles the whole time. Once, like in Hotwire mode, the thing to me that sucks about it is I got in a car and then ended up driving a 1-block lap for 5 minutes with no one shooting at me, just racking up points because I'm driving one of the capture points around. Like, it just doesn't matter. And for 5 minutes of driving one lap, I still couldn't get the thing to power slide correctly. Like, it's just terrible. It's absolutely terrible. They don't want to have good driving physics because it's a shooter game. So for anyone who doesn't play driving games, especially people playing with a mouse and keyboard, they don't want to freak them out with actual driving physics. But the result is it's horrible. That's
here's what EA should do. Right, I swear to God, this is a genuine proposal now as well. I'm not being funny, and I'm not making a joke.
All right,
get him on the line right now.
I'm being realistic, and I want everybody in chat to bear that in mind before you hear what I'm about to say. EA should do a digital edition of Battlefield Hardline called the Ultimate Hardline Edition, where what you get is you get Hardline the game, and this would be a triple-decker, perfect Hardline experience. Nobody could ever complain about the game. You get Hardline the game, you get the Police Academy fucking movies, all of them, in a box set, and you get a 10-hour recording of the Benny Hill fucking theme, and you watch, play, and listen to it all at the same time, and it will all make absolute fucking sense.
Wow.
You'll be in the perfect mind frame to play Hardline, because if you want to take that game seriously, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You can't do it. It's cops and robbers with RPGs.
Yeah, but I mean, Payday 2 does a better job of cops and robbers. Like, it's kind of cops and robbers, but like, it's cops and robbers fighting for control over points of some deserted desert town. Like, it's so inconsistent. Like, I wish they just made
cartel.
I think they should have just made Hardline their cops and robbers game, and then wait like a year and a half. Have Battlefront next year, and this fall, and then the next year after that, Battlefield comes back. Like, actually give that team time to make a good game, and just give 2 years off so everyone can forget how much they hated Battlefield 4 and just make a different game. If this was a different game that just ran on the same engine and they cut out all the stuff they felt like they had to carry over from Battlefield 4, like the 35 different unlocks and rewards you get after every single match that no one ever takes the time to read, or the constant peppering you, hey, you can spend your in-game money on this. You got a battle pack. You got a gun. You can buy a new bracelet.
Can I just read off a list, Jeremiah? I actually had this up on my screen right now. I sent it to Joel because Joel's asking about like the unlocks and junk. We already talked about how there's at least a hopefully smaller weapon set in Hardline compared to the just dumb number of clone weapons in Battlefield 4. So I was like, sorry, Joel, there's still bloat. Apparently modern gamers are required to have a carrot on a stick in front of them at all times. This drives me crazy. I just want to play a good game. Hardline has unlocks, purchases, battle packs, service stars, service coins, awards, ranks, bounties, assignments, and patches, on top of your custom clan logos and stuff like that. Are there dog tags too, or is it just patches now? I don't even know.
Not just patches. You tear them off the shoulder of your stricken enemy. I
think patches are the only like interesting thing about any of that to me, because that's like an in-game customization that actually has like a visual difference. I don't care about
spray your emblem.
That's not going to
spray your emblem on places. Like, you can kill a guy and teabag him and then spray your emblem on his body.
Back to the point about the calling it Battlefield Hardline. Would people play it though, or would, after the Ronku videos were over, would it go the way of Titanfall?
It'd go the way of Titanfall.
Well, do you think
Yeah,
Titanfall
exactly.
died because no one cared about it, or because the matchmaking went to crap?
They cared about it for 3 videos.
Yeah.
I thought Titanfall was
Ooh.
great personally, but
I think it's the
wasn't
best
shit at it.
multiplayer I played in 2014 until the
Yeah, I agree
matchmaking went to
totally.
crap.
The movement was great. The gun balance was great.
Yeah.
It
They only had
worked.
10 guns, which is perfect. You don't need 75 fucking guns.
No.
With attachments, you forgot about the 15 different attachments for every
Yeah,
gun.
that all do the same fucking thing that doesn't help little Johnny be any better at night.
it's Titanfall was great until they fucked it.
Yeah, they did fuck it.
That was genuine developer meddling with a good thing right there, like that.
But
That
it gives
kinda
you hope for
fucked it.
for Titanfall 2. I mean,
Oh
it's,
yeah, I'll buy Titanfall 2.
they have a good
because
foundation.
If I get 100 enjoyable hours out of Titanfall 2, it's worth my money.
I certainly got way more enjoyment out of Titanfall than I did out of Battlefield 4, like magnitudes more. So Squantoon, you've been a little quiet on what you don't like about Battlefield Hardline. Do you have anything in
Because
particular?
when I go, I'm gonna go.
Go, Squantoon, go.
All right. First of all, the number one problem is the community. It's complete shit, and I don't care what anyone says. People are dumb. They're stupid. They stand in your way. Another thing that kind of really pissed me off, and people that I respect their opinions on video games, I feel a little betrayed. It's being promoted as the fastest Battlefield ever, and it's almost as fucking slow as Battlefield 2. Everything you do, you change your weapon, you ADS. There's a trigger delay when you pull the trigger of any gun, and people cried about the Magnum in BF4 when that happened, but not one fucking Ronku dumbass has said shit about the trigger delay. Like, there is time from when I click it's almost like they animate your guy pulling the trigger instead of you just pulling the trigger. The kill cam is a cover-up of the bad netcode issue. You never hear the last bullet that hits you, which fucking infuriates me. There's just, I don't know. There's so much I fucking hate about it. Like, it's bad. To me, it's a copy-pasted BF4. It's slow. Grenades do more damage than JDAMs and ARMA. Which is like, that's bad.
But the minigun-
M320 spam is back. Like, we were told explosions were gone, but
Yeah.
I've died by more explosions than fucking anything.
The minigun's worthless. The minigun shoots
Yeah, it is.
popcorn.
Like 10 rounds a minute as well. It's fucking slow as shit. It's like a Russian LMG from World War II.
The funniest thing about the explosive spam is they took out a lot of stuff that could possibly explode, but then they made the vast majority of the scenery fucking explode.
Yeah.
Like, there's cars everywhere that explode. Like,
Yeah.
scenery cars that you're taking cover behind, that's gonna blow up. Like, I might as
It's
well
like a
stand
mushroom
in the street
cloud.
and get shot in
It's
the fucking
huge.
face.
But there's like
I-
no
I-
splash damage on the grenade launcher, which is great.
Yeah.
But it's still loud and shakes your screen, though. Joel's going to love that.
When you're in a vehicle, though, and you get shot, like, there's no sound. Like, you don't know the vehicle's dying until it's on fire. And at that
Yep.
point, it's way too fucking late to do anything.
You can repair some cars. If you're sitting in the police car, though, all you can do is sit and just burn to death until everyone blows up. Because,
Yeah.
because you're inside the vehicle, you can't pull out a repair torch and do anything with it.
Off the subject of Hardline, here's how much of a nerd Aaron is. He's messaging me on Steam about ARMA sound mods right now.
Fucking nerd.
Wait, hold on. Which ones?
We
Let's
have a
talk about
secret
this.
update for Dragonfire that's not out to the public yet.
Woo!
What? You
Suck it,
whore.
nerds.
We're going to take this offline later. But did anyone notice how all of the Battlefield Hardline maps also have convenient places for people to camp and snipe? And the starter sniper rifle fires like 2 shots a second, and it's a bolt action sniper rifle.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know
It's
if
pretty
any of
bad.
you have ever shot a bolt action sniper rifle. Like, you can't even rack the bolt and get a shot off if you're standing up in less than like 3 seconds,
Yeah,
unless
it's
you're amazing.
especially if you're some pleb criminal. Like, I understand if you're trained military, but some dude with a ski mask, it's not happening. I don't like roofs that you can't access by ladder either. Like, that to me is like, you know, they said they were listening to the community, but we can still fucking, like, you can camp your ass off in Hardline, and it makes me fucking cry every time I see it.
And destructibility. Has anyone found a wall you can blow a hole through yet? Because I haven't.
Other than the bank vault that's set up, no, I haven't seen shit blow up.
So one of the crowning things of the Battlefield series, the incredible destructibility of, which peaked in Bad Company 2, we can probably all agree. It's like gone now, and they're just not even talking about it.
Yeah, get this, Jeremiah. I was playing with a whole bunch of the guys last night on the Dawnbreaker Gaming Teamspeak server, and I had that stolen police SUV, like full of guys hanging out the windows. I think Menace was like on the minigun. We're tearing up. They've lost like their awesome car now. I'm like, this is gonna be good. I do the e-brake turn to the middle of the city part of the map, where all the houses are in the desert map. I'm not even sure what it's called. And there's like a bunch of guys running through all the backyards. I'm like, wooden fences everywhere. Like, this is gonna be good. I vault the hill, hit the first wooden fence, splinter particle effect, and we just stop dead, and then glitch and stop again, and we're just sitting there. I'm like, it's a wooden fence, it stopped us. And so I backed up and hit it again, nothing. However, 2 streets later, I went through a different kind of wooden fence and blew right through it. Talk about inconsistency. Like,
The reason ISIS will never win a war is because you can't fuck with the white picket fences of America. That's just the way it is.
I mean, it blows my mind. Like, some things are kind of improved. It's basically just polished BF4 with a different content in it. But then so many other things, it's like, I guess they thought, okay, we're going to streamline it. It's going to be a tighter, faster Battlefield 4 in a different setting. Let's get rid of things no one cares about, like destructibility, any semblance of vehicle physics that we still had, like any logic to the unlock or reward system. Like, let's just get rid of all of that and then give people tons of opportunities to play our little microtransaction games. Although I didn't see any way to spend actual real world money on stuff, but I'm sure
Not yet.
Yeah.
you can buy battle
Not
packs.
even
apparently.
EA or whatever.
Oh yeah, you can buy battle packs,
beta
can't
yet.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
with real
Here's
money.
what made me fucking die inside earlier. I have these moments with Hardline where I do something in game and I think, oh, this game has potential. I could conceivably enjoy it. And then 30 seconds later, I've got like heart leprosy from something else that's happened within the game. I was on Dust Bowl and I can see this dude camping a fucking window. Sitting there with a sniper rifle camping a window. Hop out of my car, get my junk out of the trunk, and I put a fucking RPG straight into his fucking face. Nothing. And he's just looking at me and I'm looking at him and I'm like, if you stay there, I'm going to try this again. So I'm assuming that I got hitboxed by something. And I'm like, I'll take out the wall beside him. I'll take a huge chunk off his health and then I'll just mow him down with my K10. That thing's a dog. It just wants to eat, like. So I fire my RPG. It hits the wall. The smoke clears, and there's a little black smudge on an unblemished wall. And I'm like, there is no way in fucking hell some little fucking shitbox wooden house in the middle of fucking hurricane country is going to withstand an RPG. Like, where's my breaking of things that makes me love this game? Like, even in 4, I could bust in a wall. Like, the time I did play 4, I had a class that I played, and I called it my Breach and Clear. And I had a fucking M320 and a silenced AEK, and the wall behind you disappeared, and then you died.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was in amongst your camping-ass squad, and everybody was going to die. That's the way it was going to work. In this game, you can't even do that. Like, that genuinely makes me sad. I want to be able to fucking ramp my car through the wall of a fucking camper's room and run his ass the fuck over. Like, let this be a thing.
Yeah, with all the
that can
vehicles,
happen.
there's such a like potential for destructibility. I can't believe they're not capitalized on it. Like, if you could drive that tanker truck like straight through a neighborhood, like tearing out houses, that'd be amazing. Like, there's
Even
so
just
much
the level of
potential.
destruction that Watch Dogs had for like all the fences and stuff. You can just plow through all the backyards, all the like lawn.
You know
furniture
it's bad
flying
when
through the
Dave
air.
is saying, even if it did this one thing as good as Watch Dogs.
That's horrible. Ubisoft game. You know we're in fucking shit country.
Do you guys remember in Bad Company 2, if you caught like a squad camping in one of those 2-level houses, you could take the crappiest Jeep with like the bouncy physics and just smash it into a wall. They would do that particle effect where like concrete just like popcorns into the air and the wall is just gone.
Or you could run and then hop and throw C4 like 30 feet, stick a couple to the house, and then just level the house. Like, everyone in the house dies because the house isn't there anymore.
With that all that creaking and all the dust settling and stuff.
Fun stuff like that. Although
it was
people
fun.
are using C4, like all the bad tactics or the cheap tactics from previous Battlefield games are back. People are using breaching charges, laying them in the roads, and just like setting up IEDs to kill everyone who drives past. Snipers are just camping absolutely everywhere. Like, every cheap tactic that is possible in a Battlefield game is still present in Hardline, which, going back to what Squantoon said about the community, like that's honestly the biggest reason I don't want to play it, is it doesn't feel any different. If I really want to play this that bad, I already own Battlefield 4. Like the cops and robbers
BF4
thing.
ruined the community. The way BF4 was promoted ruined the community. With
Yeah.
all the fucking trolling videos and gadgets that were in it, made for fucking retards from Scotland to do trolling videos. Like, it fucking wrecked the game, and now forever it will be dead.
Yeah,
it's not coming back.
I think, I can't blame DICE and EA, probably mostly EA, for wanting to make Battlefield a little more wide market, for wanting to compete with Call of Duty as their premier shooting franchise. But I think as soon as they started leaving what made Battlefield so special and unique, the community has just gone straight downhill.
Yep.
Like you get what you attract to your brand. If I produce a product that is designed to appeal to cheapskates and then market and price that product at a premium, I'm not allowed to sit there and bitch and moan when none of these cheapskates want to buy the fucking thing. You know what I mean? And EA now are in that same boat. They made a game, they made it both mechanically and the way they PR'd the shit out of it appeal to what I am going to refer to as talentless scrubs for the most part. That's what all these mechanics were for. Like, shit, son. There was stuff in it you didn't even have to lock on to fucking kill something. You just fired a fucking 2 rockets randomly into the air. They'll do the rest. They'll find something and kill it for you. Do not worry about it. Like, you get what you create. And they created a game that was going to attract people who aren't interested in personal challenge when it comes to gaming, because it's just, an hour or two every now and then, and they get their jollies, and that's it.
They created a game that's absolutely balanced across the board, except for the AA. Like, everything in Battlefield 4 is just as powerful as everything else. Like, nothing gives you any sort of advantage at all. Nothing you can unlock. Like, you can spend 50 hours unlocking everything. Nothing actually gives you an advantage. It's just all different. And that's why it sucks. There's no point to do any of it. They give you hours and hours and hours of extra stuff to do, and there's no actual reward for doing any of it. It's just there.
Guy in chat the other day actually said that the M416 has too much recoil for, like, it's just way too much recoil for an M416. Like, that's bad to me. How is it too much fucking recoil? It's a video game.
I will say in Hardline, the recoil seems to be broken somewhat. Like, sometimes I've been in a vehicle and I shoot and the recoil just goes sideways. Like, it doesn't go up or down. Like, it'll just go sideways. You hop out. It's normal. Like, have you noticed any sort of inconsistency there?
Yeah,
That's just
of it, especially with the Uzi.
Jinkiness.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's that BF jinkiness that's always going to be there, I think, when stuff just goes crazy for no real particular fucking reason. It's like, I swear to God, earlier I shot I had a fucking enemy car coming straight at me, and I'm stood in the middle of the road like a big dick baller, just like daring him to run me over. And as they get close enough, I switch and I pull out my RPG and I take my shot, and the RPG just goes straight through the fucking body of the car. And I'm looking at this car coming at me and going, "You fucking prick." And he runs me over. And I'm like, right, it is now my mission to kill you, like, repeatedly over the course of this game. So I spawn back in, I hunt down that flag car, I kill it. I wait for the guy to respawn in, and I go around just hunting for his fucking username and killing him endlessly. Because the game fucked me, basically. But that's
Remember
Battlefield.
when you were scared of vehicles in Battlefield? I miss that.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
For
even
real.
in BF4, like, when a tank rolls up on me, I have the advantage, it seems. Like, there's nothing about it that makes me think, I'm going to lose this gunfight with this tank.
Yeah, you're like, how can I bunny hop in a way that's going to get me away from this tank? Or how can I grab this ridiculous pickup and take it out? Or which of the many lock-on weapons can I choose from to make this tank run away from me?
Yeah. I like to know.
The attack truck was perfect, I thought, in the first beta, but I feel like they removed it from the game because too many people fucking complained about it because they didn't know how to fight it. They actually had to fire a unguided RPG at it and just couldn't fucking comprehend.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. I fire this RPG, but it doesn't hunt down something and kill it itself.
That
Like,
I
I'm
think
not,
is
I'm not the best FPS player in the world. I would never even imply that I would be a good to great FPS player. It takes me a long time with a game to fucking settle into it and to start taking advantage of the things that I need to take advantage of to win a fucking gunfight. But this attitude of we need next to no fucking recoil on any weapon or else there's too much recoil. We need all this automated shit that kills stuff. It's like it's a sickness in fucking FPS communities now. People aren't willing to put in the time to actually get good at a game anymore. They just see a gameplay from a level cap or an X Factor or a Jack Frags, and they look at their KD, like these guys who are arguably very skilled at FPS games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're genuinely good. Like, that's why people give a shit about what they fucking think. And they think, right, I want to be like level cap. And the only way I'm going to be happy with a game is if it gives me a KD with minimal effort that's similar to these guys on YouTube that I watch. And these fucking people are too dumb to realize when they're watching somebody who's genuinely better at something than they will ever be. Like, who's just flat out better. And that's dead now as an attitude. It's not a case of, oh, I want to like work hard and get better. I fucking love when I know for a fact that somebody smoked me in a gunfight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I get cut down and I'm like, right, that guy just straight up wrecked me. The game didn't fuck me. I wasn't robbed by netcode. His aim was fucking on point.
Like
Because
no
that
shots
gives me...
mouths every night.
Yeah, that gives me a 5-second fucking part of a game that I can sit there and think about afterwards, and I go, what could I have done differently that would have had him dead and not me?
Yeah, well, that's what Counter-Strike's been doing so well for so many years, that they've never tried to dumb the game down and make it easier. Like, Counter-Strike, I've sucked at it for years because I'm not willing to put in the amount of time it takes to be really good at Counter-Strike. It's very, very difficult, and it's always been very, very difficult to actually be really good. And when someone kills you, you know it's because they popped out of a corner, saw you, shot you in the head 3 times, and ducked behind the corner in like a quarter of a second because they're that good at the game. Like, it sucks. Like, it's really hard to play it, but it works. Like, it's good.
It's
There's
rewarding when
actual
you do
skill.
well at it, though, which is what a
Exactly.
game should be.
Yeah. Oh
Like,
man, if I'm like near the
When I
top and
beat
like
something, I don't want to feel empty. Like, it's terrible.
yeah, the most memorable games I've ever beaten were games like it was hard the entire time, and by the end I didn't think I was gonna be able to do it, and I finally squeaked by. Those are the only ones I remember. All the other games you just play through in like pretty much one straight sit through. You play it, beat it, and you're done. Like,
Yep.
yeah, it's fine. Like, there's not much of a challenge, but I think
I'll never forget the first time I made it through Sin's Fortress and Dark Souls. Like, I'll never forget that moment when I got out of that fucking place. Because it was horrible, but it made it horrible, but then you realize it's not that bad if you know what the fuck you're doing. And learning it is the only part that makes it any fucking good.
It's, we've finished ARMA ops that gave me, like, last night we were playing Hardline. Me, a few of the other lads from the Teamspeak, some of the DRMB guys, and a couple of random heads from around YouTube. We loaded into a server and we started playing, and 8 games later we hadn't lost. And it wasn't just that we were winning, like, we were fucking brutalizing the other team.
War crimes.
Like, we had a heist win in under 3 minutes. And they were making us wait 30 seconds to get in the fucking vault. You know what I mean? Like, we fucking dominated, and I felt empty inside. There was no joy. There was no like, oh, this is amazing. It was beating up dribblers at the other end of the fucking internet who could not figure out that to play a game you need to at least look at your fucking screen. I hate that with games, and that's what Hardline is right now in the beta anyway, and that's what BF4 was. You're either trapped on the team with the dribblers, or you're kicking the fucking shit out of them.
Yeah, there's no in between anymore. It's just
Like, I can probably remember maybe 4 close games from my time with BF4. Maybe 4.
Yep.
That boiled down to being really close. We almost didn't win that, or we almost won that games. And I remember them with far more frequency. I remember a lot more clutch shit happening in like BF3, Bad Company 2, you know, those in that era of my FPS life. Like some real like 0 tickets and the MCOM is actually armed. Who the fuck is gonna win this shit?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's been a long time since that's happened. Dang, now, but I'm getting nostalgic now.
And that has nothing to do with the game. And I will never give devs credit for generating systems that result in this. That's the player base that makes those fucking moments happen. And the fact that they're so rare now is telling.
Yeah.
It happened twice to me in Obliteration for BF4, and that was it. Like, nothing else ever happened. That was great.
Like, even if you take everybody who watches YouTube videos about a game, like let's say BF3, because that's a big game and it suits my purposes to skew the numbers to back myself up. But if you take a BF3 video and if you take a major fucking YouTuber with 1 million subs, the people who are so interested in that game that they actually want to watch fucking YouTube videos and think about the game and like see the game when they're not even playing it is a minuscule portion of any fucking player base. So even like the passionate people, whether they are bad or good, I'll give you points for fucking passion every day.
Yeah.
Because you'll bust your ass and die 20 fucking times to disarm an MCOM. They're vastly outnumbered by people who don't give a fuck, but fill servers with their don't give a fuckingness every day.
And that's the problem with the 64-man servers. It was great back in old hardcore Battlefield, but now it pretty much guarantees that there's no chance you're going to have more than 10 people on a random public server that are actually trying to play the objective, trying to play the game as it's supposed to be played.
Yeah.
Most people are just shooting whatever wanders in front of their scope.
Yep.
I thought they did away with 64-player servers. Like, I saw that when I launched the thing the other day, and it, like, shocked me.
No, you can
like,
play 64-man Dust Bowl. Like, that map needs 64 people running around it.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
a
I-
respawn fest. You just respawn
64
over
man
and over.
bank job.
Their fucking engine can't handle 64 players. They just need to
Well, we've known
admit
that
it. Like,
for
it's
a
too
while.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they won't fucking admit it.
Yeah. Well, all right. So we got to wrap up the Battlefield Hardline discussion at some point here. So let's
Beat this game up some more. Why not?
let's end it with: are you going to buy it at launch, or are you going to buy it? Period. Why or
I'll
why
go
not?
first.
Go for it.
I bought it on G2A when it was on sale a couple weeks ago for $37, and I can afford to lose the $37. If I could have played it for 38 hours, I'd have been fine. But I've already sold my G2A key, and if I hadn't sold it, I was fucking praying. I'm not religious, and I was praying that it was a stolen key and Origin was gonna fucking shut it down because I can't play it.
Take
Like,
it away.
if you say it's fun and you play with friends, like, I think you're dumb, but that's okay. But if you ever tell me it's a good game, we can't be friends because you're fucking stupid.
I mean, if it's the
There's
first
nothing
Battlefield
about the
game
game
someone
that's
ever
good.
plays, like if some kid just got an Xbox One for Christmas and he gets Battlefield Hardline in March, yeah, he probably is going to enjoy it and have fun because he doesn't know any different. If you've been playing Battlefield for years and you think it's a good game, you're wrong.
But like, that kid is hopeless though, because he's grown up in a time where games they're just bad, and you don't know they're bad because you never played a good game in your life. Like, they're all shit, and you just think this one's less shit, so it must be good.
That's a really valid fucking point.
Yeah, kind of is. It's sad. All right. Scanner.
I view Hardline as there's two Hardlines that exist for me. There's Hardline as a gamer, where I look at it as a game, and I can conceivably play it without punching myself in the face. Like, you know, I've covered this aspect of it. Will I get like my money's worth for my $38 from G2A? Maybe, I don't know. I honestly can't say. Who the fuck knows? The other way I look at Hardline is from the point of view of my new hobby of like screenshotting games and working on cinematics. And I can work with Hardline. Like, I can write a fucking series of cinematics in that thing. I've got stuff on the boil with people who are very, very good at making cinematics, and it's going to be awesome. And it will justify me having bought it just for that, just from a creative point of view.
Yeah, I mean,
Like-
the Frostbite engine is undeniably has beautiful parts to it and is
Yeah.
one of the better looking engines
Yeah,
out
it's
there.
gorgeous.
And you've got Hattie Waddy with his fucking cinema tools making everybody's life so fucking easy. Like, you'd be an idiot not to be, screenshotting and making cinematics in this game if you didn't, if that's what appealed to you.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm never going to regret that I've bought Hardline, but I will never regret it simply because of the people that I get to create stuff with.
Yeah.
As opposed to, the game.
Mhm.
Like, there's no way in fucking hell that I will suddenly be back to making a lot of Battlefield content based off Hardline.
Yeah.
My channel is always the indicator as to what's going on. Like, I'm hitting it hard now because it's a beta week, and because I can get said what I want to get said this week and not have to fucking worry about launch week.
Mhm.
I can have all these fights now with people who are being painfully fucking wrong at me all day. And I can just do it now. And then launch week, they can enjoy themselves and I can enjoy themselves. It's like fucking before you get married. It just makes sense.
Dave?
I honestly can't figure out how I feel about the game. I need to play it some more, but I'm definitely not buying it pre-order. I'm definitely not buying it, I don't think, launch week. I'm still a little interested in the single player. I'm really hoping that I can do like the entire campaign like non-lethal, like arresting everybody. Like, that sounds like fun to me.
Mhm.
Just because it's different. Like, when was the last time you had a single player cop game? Like, the SWAT games had a kind of single player element to them, but it's been a long time. But multiplayer, I don't see it. I mean, I've got BF4 that's mostly functional despite the bloat and the stupid design decisions. So, I mean...
Yeah, but
I
Dave,
think
I
that
think
the-
what you're feeling is your nostalgic, intrinsic love for Battlefield is conflicting with the fact that you know this is a crappy game. But it's a Battlefield game, and you
It's
want
got the logo right there, guys.
Well, no, you want to. I'm not making fun of you. You want to like it because you love the Battlefield series, and it's hard for you to like. I crossed that point with BF4 a long time ago, so it's easy for me to say, don't care, not buying it,
Yeah.
not interested. But I know it's because you love Battlefield. If this was any other game, if this was some random new game, Hardline, you would have played the beta for 3 hours
So,
and been like, I'm done.
Yeah, I kind of talked about this in the video I put up last week. Like, I've always had a Battlefield game installed since Battlefield 2. Like, always. I would drag my laptop to the university lab to play 2142 for hours until, like, the lab would close on my laptop just because I had dial-up at home. But BF4, like I said, it works. I can play that when I want to mow people down with a tank and whatnot. I'd probably pick up Hardline if it was like $20 to check out the single player and to play some Hotwire and stuff like that. But even like the 37 you guys got it for, I can't do it. I've got GTA 5 coming up. I've got The Witcher 3, DayZ beta later this year, ARMA expansions
Oh yeah,
and DLC.
DayZ. Now there's the
Marksman
mark of
expansion
fucking
in March.
quality.
Well, the odds are there will be some patches this year that will make aspects of DayZ marginally better. But yeah, I know what he means. But it's
Truthfully, I got tired with BF4. Like, BF4 broke me a little bit when it came to other people and their view of gaming and maybe what they see as being important about games. It just broke me. I got so tired of having to listen to people and then watch them change over time in the opinions they were expressing, and then watch them deny that their opinions had changed over time, even though there's like a literal video fucking record of this shit happening. You know what I mean? I just got tired of it. So I could give no fucks about Hardline, whether I'm playing it or whether I'm not playing it. My main concern is that nobody ever makes the mistake of thinking that I am somehow coming back to the fucking Battlefield community. Because there's about 10 of them that are worth a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Like, I get to work with the people in the Battlefield community that I want to work with, doing my cinematics, doing all that shit. They're
The
the guys
engines is
that
a tool
interest
for cinematics at this point.
Yeah, that's it. Like, it's a tool to me, the same way as fucking any other thing it could be considered, like, as a functional tool.
Mm-hmm.
But Jesus fuck, if anybody, like, if I end up doing like Hardline videos from time to time, I guarantee you it's just background footage. It's never going to be tactics. It's never going to be really talking about the game or anything like that. Like, beyond that first review, and I have never given, on my channel, I have never scored a game, ever. I've never finished it and gone, this is 9 out of 10, this is 8 out of 10. Hardline will be the first time I ever do that. And only so I can assign 5 possible points to the single player and 5 points to the multiplayer. So if I kick the fucking shit out of the multiplayer in the final finished version and just say it's a complete, like, 1 out of fucking 5 trash, you still know that if I give the single player 5 out of 5, you know it's legitimately a fucking fantastic single player experience.
Right.
And after that, I'm moving the fuck on.
Yeah.
Like, unless the game has amazingly turned itself around and is providing me with a consistent, fair experience, we might just be onto something. But that shit ain't gonna fucking happen.
Not for a while, at least. I mean, who knows when the next... who knows? You know, the Call of Duty community, I think, went through this like 3 or 4 years ago. Went through the same thing the Battlefield community is going through now. Like, all the videos about tactics have been made, about map movement, about design. Like, even when they add the exosuits and stuff in the most recent Call of Duty, like, it doesn't really fundamentally change the game at all. And we're at that point with Battlefield where there's nothing to talk about. I mean, it's really just a retread, expansion, whatever you want to look at it. It's the same thing you've been playing for a while, whether you love it or hate it. It's the same old thing. So there's not like, there's no reason I'm not going to make videos about this on my channel. Like, there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing interesting or new or different that it's doing. Everything it's doing, other games have done better. Most of them were old Battlefield games. So, you know, I'm just not interested. Like, there's no reason for me to want to buy it. You know, if it, like Battlefield 4, you know, hit those $5 sales within like 6 months, yeah, if it went down to $5, I'll probably pick it up just to try out. Like, for that price, who cares?
To look at it even, just, I mean, $5.
But for the single player, honestly, my plan at this point is to rent it from Redbox, play through it on my PS4, and flip it in like 2 days and pay $4 to try out the single player campaign. Like, that's my plan at this point.
It was actually pretty lucky for Hardline and possibly for everybody who's unfortunate enough to be in any way touched by me expressing my opinion, from like people who watch podcasts to people who follow me on Twitter and sub to me on YouTube. Everybody should be really thankful that Darkest Dungeon came out like this week, because gaming this year can do whatever the fuck it wants to do. It can be as shit and as garbage, and it can be as 2014 as it pleases. Darkest Dungeon is a thing that I can play and exist, so everything is fucking fine. It's that simple.
That's a golden endorsement from Scanner Barkly.
Nothing else matters.
We now have a very natural segue here into our next Potato Masher video. Now, this
actually, before we move on, Jeremiah,
okay,
I had one final thought.
Yes, go ahead.
I've kind of been mulling this over. I had like an epiphany Monday night during the ARMA mission, and I think I mentioned on Twitter to Squantoon that the timing of the Hardline beta was just terrible this week, because I had this moment. It was like, what was it? 7 of us playing this ARMA mission. We're on Altus, and I'm leading a squad of 4 through a pine forest. We just took out a tank, like this T-55 tank. We're in this running gunfight with the shots echoing through this gigantic map down the valley. Chris is above in the Little Bird, calling out targets. You're only like a 2-kilometer away mountain, sniping the guys in front of us as we like push with smoke up towards the objective, where we're gonna kidnap a guy with zip ties and drag him back to an American base. And like, I'm in this gunfight in the woods, and we have the radio mod, Task Force Radio, where we hear all the radio sound effects, and we're calling stuff back and forth. Thank you, guys. We're using modded guns, all these modded weapons. We're using advanced gameplay modification that adds the ability for us to zip tie people. And we're playing a mission that I made with the mission editor and all the sandbox modding tools. And I kind of had this just epiphany where I'm there in the midst of that battle with all of us coordinating. I'm like, this is what I always wanted out of Battlefield. This is the sandbox, teamwork, military shooter that I was looking for in BF3 and 4, and that just never even came close. There's no C4 trolling. There's no dumb teammates. There's just a sandbox, open-ended experience you can immerse yourself in, and that is always fun. And sure, the game isn't perfect. There's performance issues. There's glitches that happen constantly, but there's been no other experience that has come as close to the Battlefield target as ARMA 3 has for me. And I mentioned last night on TeamSpeak when we were playing Hardline, like I remember before BF3 came out and we were first forming our group, we had like plans for coordinated airstrikes and like we were going to fly the transport choppers together and, you know, rush mode was going to be all tactical. And the game just does not support that. Even if you had a server full of friends, like it doesn't support that kind of gameplay. And I think that's really why, you know, going from that mission where I had that epiphany in the forest where I'm like, this is what I've been looking for. And then jumping into the Hardline beta the next day, I'm like, it's fast, it's ridiculous, it's laggy, it's just the same old thing, and it's not what I'm looking for. That's where I am.
That's
on the ARMA subject, real quick.
Yeah, what's up?
Do you all play night missions without NVGs? Don't let anyone wear NVGs. Put the moon bright and play a night mission without NVGs.
All right, we'll give that a try.
Sex. It's amazing. It's fucking amazing.
It takes a little getting used to, but once you get there and that's your standard for night missions, the terror, but the reward is incredible. Like you come under fire and everybody just fucking insta-prones, and somebody finds the muzzle flash, gives a bearing, and then it's fucking on. It's just incredible. Oh yeah, it's so good.
Actually, I'm really glad you guys brought that up because Jeremiah, not to give anything away, but the next mission in my campaign is going to be during a thunderstorm, and it's going to involve no virtual ammo box, no loadouts.
You're tired of everyone messing with your loadouts, aren't you?
Well, I without giving away the theme, it's going to be kind of like a loner like survival style mission, but as part of the campaign. So, yeah, I see some flashlights in our future and a very thick thunderstorm.
Sweet. All right, so now it's time for our next Potato Masher video. This was supposed to go up in the original Potato Masher video at the beginning of January. I pulled it last minute. Dave convinced me to pull it. We just weren't sure about the performance. We weren't sure if we were doing due diligence. We wanted to give the game a fair shake. We wanted to give the Potato Masher a fair shake, but we didn't want to be misleading about anything. So we pulled it. I've done more testing. We are now both confident.
What we wanted to do was we wanted to figure out what particular part of Battlefield 4 was not working in this particular scenario.
Oh, you spoiled it. I hadn't said the game yet. Yeah, the game is Battlefield 4 because that was a launch window game for the new consoles, and it technically launched on the PC at the same time. So we're now going to watch this video of Battlefield 4. So you guys who have the video, just cue it up, and we're going to start it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, I'm comparing Battlefield 4 on the Potato Masher and the PlayStation 4. If you don't know, the Potato Masher is a $350 PC custom built in December of 2014. It's designed to compete against the PlayStation 4 and other consoles for as many years as possible to see what you could do with the same budget as buying a modern console. The full Potato Masher specs are in the description of this video, as well as a link to the official build and concept video for the Potato Masher if you want some more information. Battlefield 4 is interesting. It debatably kicked off the modern trend of games not working well at launch. It was actually horribly broken on the PC for, I'd say, at least 6 months, and it still has severe problems. And then on the consoles, it was broken for at least a couple months. As far as I know, I didn't really play much multiplayer on the consoles. But on the PlayStation 4, Battlefield 4 looks pretty good. I'd say it's pretty close to medium high settings equivalent of the PC. Now on the PC, you can run higher frame rates. I can't know for sure, but it appears Battlefield 4 is running at 60 FPS in the campaign. And the same turned out to be true on the Potato Masher, where I was able to have everything on Ultra, except for anti-aliasing and a little bit of shadow work, and I was able to get a steady 60 FPS. Now, I couldn't get the frame rate counter to hook for some reason for the campaign videos or for part of them, but you'll just have to take my word for it. It was running at 60 FPS and looked pretty great, which isn't to say the PlayStation 4 looks bad, but it does have noticeable aliasing. There's a lot of texture pop-in an object pop in at distance, and the lighting is quite a bit simpler. And again, when you're playing it, a lot of this isn't that noticeable. But if you do know what you're looking for, the difference is definitely there, and on the PC, it definitely looks better if you have the hardware to run it. And Battlefield 4 does scale pretty well. The Potato Masher had no problem running it at almost completely ultra settings and getting 60 FPS. Now, when you get out into more expansive areas of the campaign, kind of like this map we're in now, to maintain 60 FPS, I did drop a couple settings a little bit farther down because it was like in the mid-50s. So again, I mean, that's not really a big deal, but if you want to sustain a locked 60 FPS, you may have to drop it down just a little bit farther. But it still looks awesome. Battlefield 4, when it runs well, and in the campaign it does generally run well, it's one of the best looking games that's come out in recent years. So it's definitely worth checking out if you like awesome graphics, especially because you can usually get it for very, very cheap because of all the issues it had. I'd recommend trying it for the campaign if you like first-person shooter campaigns. It's a pretty good one. I don't know if I could recommend it for multiplayer for issues that you are about to see, but it is very, very pretty. It's a good way to test out your new rig to see how good your stuff can look, and I personally think the campaign's pretty fun. And I did try playing it at 2560 or 1440p. It did run decently well, but I had to drop settings down to about medium to sustain 60 FPS. So if you have a 1440p and you want to play on similar specs to the Potato Masher, that might not work that well, but of course the Potato Masher is designed for 1080p. I just figured I would let you know about scaling it up. Now in multiplayer, in my opinion, the PlayStation 4 version of Battlefield looks like it has been hit with the ugly stick. It looks considerably worse than the campaign, but one thing that the PlayStation 4 version of multiplayer does do well is it does run well. The issues seem to have been pretty much fixed on the PlayStation 4 version. I think the community has gone to crap personally, but the game itself appears to have been fixed, and part of that reason is likely due to the strengths of consoles in that all PlayStation 4s have the same hardware. On the PC, I was encountering so much severe stutter and lag on every map I tried that I figured there must be something else going on that I just hadn't taken into account. Well, a quick visit to the task manager showed that all the system memory was being used up. Now, you guys know we took a little bit of a gamble going with only 4 gigs of system memory, although, I mean, being realistic, 4 more gigs of memory would be $30, so it wouldn't be that expensive to upgrade if we wanted. But the interesting thing is, Battlefield 4 itself is only using about 1.5 gigs of memory, which makes sense. That's pretty normal for most of the games I've tested. What is abnormal is that it's tying up the rest of the system memory. The system hovers between 750 megabytes and 1.25 gigabytes of memory usage most of the time when no game is being played. And when most games are being played, it sits around 2 to 2.5 gigabytes of total memory usage. With Battlefield 4, like I said, the game's only using about 1.5 gigs, but the system is locked up at 3.75 to 3.85 gigabytes, and that means that it's trying to access the page file on the computer to offload some of the memory duties, and it can't keep up, and multiplayer stutters horribly. I tried lowering the resolution to 720p, and it doesn't make any difference. I mean, the game looks a lot worse. The frame rate doesn't get any better. The graphics card has plenty of juice. As you saw in the campaign, it can run the campaign fine. My guess is that there are just memory leak issues or memory optimization issues in multiplayer that haven't been addressed. To test this out, I fired up the Battlefield Hardline beta, as it uses the same engine and in many ways is a largely modified version of Battlefield 4. I wanted to see if the resulting extra year of development would have maybe fixed this issue. And it actually runs a lot better. The memory is still pegged around 3.5 gigabytes, but that does mean the game is playable. There were occasional hitches and stutters, but the game also is in beta. None of them appeared to be related to the memory issue. They mostly just appeared to be, pre-release game code. And after doing a lot of Googling, there are many forum posts and pages devoted to people talking about this same issue with Battlefield 4, how there's a severe memory leak issue, and even though the minimum requirements for the game are 4 gigabytes, almost nobody is reporting that they can successfully play the game with a smooth frame rate with only 4 gigabytes of memory. So I don't think this is enough to say, oh, the Potato Masher just can't handle this game. Now, if we had 8 gigabytes, yes, we'd be able to compensate for the memory leak, but the real issue lies with Battlefield 4 and its terrible, terrible optimization. So if for some reason you still want to play the Battlefield 4 multiplayer, make sure you have over the minimum requirements on memory. And if you want to play the campaign, hey, everything runs great. All right, so that was Battlefield 4. If some of you noticed a little bit of jerkiness in some of the PC footage, even when the frame rate looked good, a lot of that was recorded early on when we were doing the Potato Masher stuff. I hadn't quite got the workflow down, and I've decided for most games I'm probably going to use a controller to record footage in the future, because when you use a mouse, it looks a little bit choppier than footage when you're using a controller on a console, even if the frame rate is twice as good on the PC. That's just something that we can't really get around. Even while you're playing it, though, it doesn't feel any worse. So, Dave, did you have any last thoughts on that while I queue up calling Joel?
I think we definitely gave it a fair shake. That's the first time I've seen Battlefield 4 played on a computer with only 4 gigs of RAM, and the game is
minimum specs. The minimum specs.
It is minimum specs. The game is 64-bit, and apparently they take that very, very seriously. And the game is incredibly greedy when it comes to memory. And I know that as far as frame rate smoothness goes, when I had SLI, even two 680s, the frame timings in Battlefield 4 were awful. Every time an explosion would go off, my frame timings would jump to like 800 milliseconds, and I get massive stutter. So basically the only way to like really crush Battlefield performance-wise is to have a stupid fast computer and just smash it into submission.
All right, I'm now adding Joel to the call. If he answers his phone, he wanted to call everybody from Disney World. I'm not making this up.
One final note, though, just to remind everyone once again that footage was recorded on a computer that cost $350. That's still my favorite part.
Well, I mean, it did pretty well for most of the campaign. It can play the game.
It looks really good.
It can't put up with the stupid broken parts of it. We're just brute forcing the game. That's the only way we can make it work on our computers is we have 16 gigs of memory. So who cares if it leaks all the way up to 11 gigs of system memory or something like. It's still broken. It's been out for well over a year. It's still broken, so please don't play it on a computer like the Potato Masher. And Joel isn't answering his phone.
In chat, he says that he is sweaty and ready.
What a nerd.
I think I'm going to have to actually call his cell phone. I don't think he's actually using Skype. So, Dave, you have to vamp for a minute.
Let's talk about ARMA.
Let's talk about ARMA.
Yes,
I think Aaron actually tried the. Have you tried the speeded time yet? Like you can speed time up to where a day is like 48 minutes long. It's fucking fantastic because your firefights actually turn into night and will turn back into daytime.
That sounds kind of awesome.
It can fuck with you though mentally. Like, oh my god, I've been playing ARMA for 3 fucking days.
See, I'd be more concerned if that hadn't actually already happened to me in real life. It's that mission editor, man, it just sucks you in.
All right, we're calling him.
See if this actually goes through. Call dropped. Joel's phone.
I'm calling the actual phone now.
I'm hearing that boop 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 boop.
I'm hearing ring.
Hello?
Hey, Joel.
Hey, man.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, can you hear me fine?
Yep, I can hear you.
Is there a lot of background noise for me?
I mean, it sounds like they're using a cell phone. It sounds horrible, but we can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, I had to borrow an Android, so that's probably why it sounds so crappy.
Oh, why couldn't you use your iPhone, Joel? Was there some issue with it?
Just kidding. I'm using my iPhone.
Oh, okay.
That's why it sounds
there are no Androids around in Disney World.
Yeah, we're not having this discussion again, Joel. That's way too long of an argument about absolutely nothing. So, all right, what's up, man? How are you liking Disney World?
It's pretty awesome. So last day we just finished up a trip into Magic Kingdom, and my wife is finally just completely crashing. She was like, go, go, go all day, and now she's got about to be dead. Falling asleep. We're getting drinks, and I just got a cocktail called the Magical Star Cocktail.
All right.
It's like purple, and it has a little glowy light in it and everything. It's awesome.
Joel, one of these days you just need to have a real drink, man.
I almost ate an entire pork shank. Almost. John ate his entire one, straight to the bone within 5 minutes. And I was struggling with it. Yeah, that was only 2 hours after an entire turkey leg. So much meat this week.
All right. Did you have anything you wanted to add in about Battlefield Hardline or 4 or any of the games you haven't been playing this week?
That I'm just I'm just glad I'm not into those games anymore now. What?
His only comment is to lord his superiority over us.
My cocktail's coming in so glowy.
Joel, why did you want to be called into the podcast?
Funny. Oh, okay. One sec. Just continue for a second.
Joel, do you feel warm, buddy?
We're not continuing. This part of the podcast is we're calling you because you asked us to call you.
Oh, that's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. That's awesome. Wow. John, do you want to help me spin? There's a little glowy light in my glass.
I think he's pretty drunk
awesome.
outside of the cocktail.
Yeah, he must have had a sip of it.
Yeah, he made the mistake of smelling it. Now he's
Oh, this is amazing. Okay, anyway.
I'm sure it is, Joel. I'm sure your glowy light Disney drink is amazing.
And because
No, Hardline,
Disney drink, it contains neither alcohol nor brown people.
Yeah.
Don't forget Jews.
Oh yeah, definitely no Jewish folk in Disneyland.
I'm a little sad for Dave for Battlefield and stuff because I know he loves that series, and it's a little sad to see it's just going away. Like, if they don't come back with Star Wars, I mean, it's just gone. Like, there's no way I'm playing those games anymore. Like, it's sad. Even if Dave begged me, it's like I'll play.
I'm not begging you, Joel. Don't worry. I already have PTSD.
You know what I mean? Like even if Dave's like, hey, let's just play. Like, I might play Battlefield once if we have nothing else to do. Like, let's play a little bit. It's not a good game. It just really isn't. I don't think so. I just think it's so in between what it needs to be. It's not fast paced and awesome like Call of Duty, where it's just everything's smooth and it just works really well. That's that kind of game. And then it's not slower paced and tactical like it should be. It's like right in the middle between both of those. I think it's a really bad area for that game. So I watched the Hardline trailer and gameplay. I watched probably about 2 hours of it this weekend just streaming, and it just looked so boring. It was just constant explosions left and right. I was watching someone just play through the beta, and I was like, this is just stupid. I'm like, take away the freaking RPGs. Can you just make it more like? And then everyone's respawning constantly. I don't know. It looks absolutely boring as crap. So
yeah, well, you should listen to the first part of the podcast where we talk about it for about an hour. But you're pretty much in line with what the rest of us think. Although when you come home, well, no, you're going to miss all the beta. You won't get to play it. But
is it till Sunday or Saturday?
I think it was till Saturday. Don't quote me,
okay.
But I mean, check it when you come home. It's Sunday. It's Sunday.
Well,
okay.
It was 6 days. It started Tuesday.
App. I used my PlayStation app to download the beta on my PS4 so it'd be ready if it was still going on till Sunday. Because sometimes they like extend those.
They might extend it. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and try it when you get home. I'd be curious to hear what you think about it. But yeah, what your impressions
You're not gonna like it, Joel.
Yeah, your impressions are pretty in line with everything we've experienced. So enjoy your drink, Joel. We miss you on the podcast.
It's grapefruity. Oh, wow, this is magical. All right, well, thanks, guys.
All right,
Love
Joel.
you.
Talk to you later, buddy.
See ya.
Joy Whitey land.
His phone number needs to go away so I can take off the splash screen. Go away, phone number. I'm waiting, still waiting.
I want to go away.
I manually removed it.
Okay, there we go.
All right, it is now time as we're wrapping the podcast down. We have a little bit of news. We're not doing much news tonight. We're going to breeze through it pretty quickly, but a couple things that are kind of cool. There's a new, faster Raspberry Pi coming out. If you're not familiar with the Raspberry Pi, it was like a $35 microcomputer. That's not counting your power supply and your monitor and everything. It's just like a tiny CPU soldered to a motherboard, and it's really good for the money. And people were using it like a low power computer to build streaming boxes, to build any computer you needed to automate something. Like people were using them to automate heating stuff in their pump houses, making them to like buy stocks when certain requirements were met. Like it was so affordable, anything you wanted to experiment with, you could do that. Now there is a faster Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi 2 has launched. It will support Windows 10 right out of the box. Of course, you have to buy Windows 10. And it has to be a slightly tweaked version of Windows 10. But it's 6 times more powerful than the previous generation. It has a 900 megahertz quad-core ARM processor. It has a 1 gigabyte of RAM, 4 USB ports, an Ethernet port, HDMI, 3.5 millimeter audio, a micro SD card slot for storage, and the GPIO pins for wanting to hook up expansion stuff. And it is selling for the exact same $35 as the previous version, so that's pretty cool.
And unlike the Xbox One, it can run games at 1080p.
Shots
Sorry.
fired.
Had to stick the boot into the old pleberinos.
But the thing is, can it stream video as well as the Xbox One? The answer is also yes. But it doesn't have a built-in Kinect support. All right. Next bit of news. SLI and Crossfire. So this is a common misconception. People think, okay, if I buy 2 cards, each of them has 2 gigabytes of memory, I have 4 gigabytes of video memory. No. Your system will only use whatever amount of memory is on the main card. And it'll just use the extra processing power from the second card, but you are stuck with that low amount of memory. Not for long. Coming up soon, SLI and Crossfire will both support memory stacking, is what they're calling it. Robert Halleck, the head of global technical marketing to AMD, has explained that their new API stuff can bridge the gap. Actually, it's already capable of bridging the gap to allow memory stacking. And supposedly this is going to be a DirectX 12 thing. Like the architecture is already there. They just need to roll it out with DirectX 12. So, and presumably Mantle. But both NVIDIA and AMD should support this sometime this year, presumably. You'll actually be able to buy, say, 2 cheaper $150 cards, and you'll have enough memory to run 1440p, providing NVIDIA doesn't screw you over with the memory again.
But this
So
caught
what
my
you're
eye during
telling
my.
me is I can get another 980 and SLIing it will actually be worth.
Yes,
Possibly, yeah.
but
Because I'm not an idiot who bought a 970.
yeah, what kind of losers would do that?
Yeah, dumbasses.
Morons. He says here in the article, though, it's not as simple as just enabling it like driver side. Apparently, the games have to be written to split the memory in a certain way.
Right.
If you read some of NVIDIA's white papers, the stuff that SLI does with like frame splitting and stuff is pretty wild. Like, it's a pretty wonky way of doing things.
Yeah, so it's questionable how supported this will be, how much anyone will care. Like, people haven't been jumping on board the Mantle train that fast.
Well, like, I would say, look at the driver support for SLI and how rough that is. Yeah. And now, like, add this extra layer. Now the developers have to have in-engine support for memory splitting. And it's like, what percent, like, SLI is supported by 14% of games well. What's now the percentage that's actually going to have the memory splitting done correctly out of that? Like, it's going to be...
Your best bang for the buck is always buying a new card about every other generation and selling the one you have for 70% or 60% of what you paid for it and taking like an $150 hit every couple of years. That's always going to be your best bang for your buck. So it is a cool feature that's coming out, but don't get too excited about it yet. We could be totally wrong, but many years of experience says that we're probably not. Last bit of news, Dave, this is all you.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped about this one because the Daily Mail is actually raising the bar in internet journalism. I've been waiting for this to happen. I'm a big proponent of what the Daily Mail offers us, and today they're going to tell us how the terrorists are coming for your children through video games, specifically ARMA 3 mods.
Does Nancy Grace work for them?
Not yet.
Okay.
But she's been applying every week.
I refute their claim with 150 dead ISIS every mission.
That's what I said on Reddit. Okay, so here's this article. This ridiculous, just clickbait article from the Daily Mail claiming that this Iraqi warfare mod that has an ISIS OP4 faction that you can place in the sandbox, that apparently there's like ISIS members creating videos, propaganda videos with it, which I saw no actual evidence of. And this has happened before for other games though, so it's definitely a possibility. But the whole article is just this rambling thing full of screenshots of ARMA next to screenshots of them of actual ISIS like throwing people off of buildings and stuff like that. Just the absolute pit of clickbait journalism. But That's what I said on Reddit when I heard about this. I'm like, oh yeah, like that mod's in our mod pack. Man, we probably killed a few hundred ISIS members by this point. Like,
well, they say like it allows you to play as ISIS people. It's ARMA. You can make someone look like whatever you want and play as whoever you want. Like, you don't magically become ISIS because you're wearing a turban, you stupid racists. Like,
I got a bunch of screenshots I'll send them that they can use, and not one of them has a live ISIS guy in it. Not one.
Squantoon's doing his part.
That guy actually took, like, they're not called ISIS anymore. If you update that pack, you lose ISIS. They're called, he changed them. Like, he was freaking out about it yesterday on forums, like asking people what he should do.
Yeah.
And today he changed it. It's not ISIS anymore.
Because he probably thought, hey, you know, this is a heavily modded PC game. Maybe everyone's not going to be politically correct whiny idiots about this. Oh no. How did someone from the Daily Mail find out about ARMA? I really don't want this game to enter the spotlight because compared to most other games, it's way less politically correct because you can do anything.
Yeah.
Like, you can just shoot women and children. Like, it's a sandbox. It actually just lets you do whatever you want.
You scumbag.
I just like
While
being
we're
around
fighting
people.
ISIS, he's there killing the innocents.
Well, look, I did kill a civilian to
Confessions.
take his vehicle the other night, Dave's mission, and I didn't feel guilty about it. I'm not going to apologize.
Well,
Yeah,
look,
it's something I wanted.
I'm actually fine with it because it actually elevates what we in Sleazy Company do from simply enjoying a game that we enjoy. When we record a mission where we destroy ISIS and we put this mission upon the internet, we are now part of the propaganda machine that powers freedom. It is that fucking simple.
There's definitely one way of looking at it, and I
I'm
support
not
it.
saying we're heroes. I'm just saying everybody else should be saying we're heroes.
You're not saying that you're actual heroes. You just do a whole lot of really heroic things that
Yeah,
people
we
should
just
appreciate.
do mad heroic shit. Like, fucking, as soon as the camera's off, I'll be spin kicking ISIS trained ninjas right in the face.
Yeah, so you can go read the Daily Mail. No, I'm just kidding. Please don't.
Oh
do that.
gosh.
All right, moving on. It's mail time. You can write into the show at casualshenanigans@gmail.com. Just like Daniel did. He said, "What's up, guys? I've been watching the podcast for a few months now, and I love it. I stumbled across it while trying to find new podcasts to keep me entertained on my 3 hours of driving to and from work every day. Daniel, you have a problem. Keep up the good work. I'm an IT director for a university and usually have a little free time on my hands to chit-chat with friends on Facebook. Well, today we all got in the discussion of upgrading our gaming machines. Now, my machine is by no means a slow machine. I'm running an FX 6300. That's an AMD Hexacore. Overclocked to 4.6 gigahertz, 12 gigabytes of RAM, a 240 gig SSD, a 1 terabyte storage drive, and a GTX 750. The system runs great doing my software compiling and video rendering, but I need to step up my game in the graphics department. Games look good, and I can run most at medium, high to high, but I want a bit more. My choices have come down to an NVIDIA GTX 960 or an AMD R9 270X or 280 or 285. I don't really want to spend more than $200 on a card. I feel like I can't trust NVIDIA anymore after the 970 issue. I've been a longtime fan of NVIDIA and haven't had an AMD card in decades, but I'm a bit of an AMD CPU fanboy. What do you think would be the better investment? Well, I wouldn't say you should lose all your faith in NVIDIA just because of the GTX 970 issue. They're a company with a really solid reputation, and they've been making good cards for many, many years. The 970 thing does suck. They definitely messed up, but they are taking the blame for it pretty well. Like, they're working to get people refunds, or they're not blocking refunds. Like, they're not being total dicks about the situation, but they definitely put out a product that had an issue. I mean, they messed up. But I wouldn't not buy an NVIDIA card just because of that.
No.
But for your price range, a AMD R9 280 is going to be a faster card than a 960, definitely. So if you're okay getting an AMD card, a 280 or a 285 is a better card for the money.
Yeah.
If you want to stick with NVIDIA, a 960 is probably a great card. And if you're playing at 1080p, a 970 would still be a great card. It's an awesome 1080p card. It's only an issue if you're running high resolution. But for your budget, yeah, 960 or a 280, probably your best bet. Let us know if
I've
you
got
have any
some
other questions.
advice.
Yeah, go ahead.
And you know it's going to be awesome. I know NVIDIA fucked up trying to, with the whole 970 VRAM issue.
Mm-hmm.
But never forget, AMD have been selling you shit for fucking years. So you want to start holding that against them too, Mr. AMD CPU guy.
Now, well,
Knock yourself out, man.
in their defense, And I know you're kind of joking.
I'm just
I know you're kind of joking. AMD, I think, has been really misunderstood by enthusiasts for years because, like, they've never tried to sell to the hardcore enthusiast. They've kind of tried to market them that way a couple times, but they've never really made CPUs for people who really need the power. They make some of the best budget gaming processors there are, but for his budget, I think AMD is awesome because he is playing on a bit of a budget. But yeah, I mean, I've had the nicest AMD processor they've put out in years, and I owned it for like 3 months and ditched it for a 2-generation old Intel. There's some stuff Intel just does better, and there's some stuff NVIDIA does better. But lately, I think AMD is killing it on graphics cards. They're not quite there with CPUs.
At the end of the day, any AMD-powered gamer always has one simple thing that they can say. I don't play on console, motherfuckers. That's it. Then you just changed. Like, I've actually like seen that happen where like NVIDIA fanboys and AMD fanboys are going really fucking hard at each other on a forum somewhere, and somebody just mentions a console, and all of a sudden it's brothers in arms, like between these two previously warring factions. It's fucking amazing. I love it.
Let me finish typing this. Okay. Last bit of mail is from Tristan. He said, "Hey guys, I wrote in a while back about upgrading this GPU or CPU on my rig. You guys told me to upgrade from an AMD 7770 to a GTX 760, which is what I did. Now I'm thinking about upgrading the processor. I'm looking at an i5 4690K and a gigabyte really long name motherboard. I feel pretty good with this choice, but I want to know if you guys would recommend anything else. Thank you for your time and slap a seal." This is his system specs for now. GTX 760, 600 watt power supply, AMD X4 750K quad core. That's not a very good one. An MSI motherboard, 8 gigs of RAM, and a 1 terabyte hard drive. I say that the quad core is not very good. It's perfectly fine, but it's not amazing for gaming.
Right.
Doesn't have the beef.
The 4690K is the same thing as the 3570K and the 2500K and the i5 750 and the i7 920. It's the $200 and a little bit AMD quad core. You buy one, you can use it for the next 5 years, and all games it'll run every game fine. It has tons of headroom. You have nothing to worry about. The i5 750 in the potato masher has yet to go over 75% usage in any game. And that's a 5-year-old quad core. You can't really go wrong. If you buy it, get a nice motherboard. I didn't look up that particular motherboard, but it's a gigabyte. It's got the nice Z97 chipset. It's probably pretty decent. I might look at Asus. They're generally a little bit better. But yeah, buy it and plan on using it for the next 5 years because it's definitely going to be fast enough to do that. All right. And then 90 Seconds with Joel is not going to be live this week. He sent me some stuff I'm cutting together, and we'll be putting it into the podcast that goes up on YouTube and on iTunes. So here is 90 Seconds with Joel, the part of the podcast where Joel talks about whatever he wants for always longer than 90 seconds.
All right, so here we are getting on a bus to go to Fun. We need a lot of cool things. You can hear the buses in the background. Those are actually delivering people to fun areas of the world. Hello, sir. So now it's echoey. Now we're in the bus. We're all sitting down in chairs. And I guess I'll just sit with John. What are we doing, guys? Where are we headed?
It's so dark in here.
So dark in here? Yeah, you probably couldn't hear Joy, but we're going to some place called Paradiso, which has amazing food. And you guys are probably sitting at your cubicles in your house doing the podcast, which is boring.
Screw you guys.
Okay, so now we're sitting in a restaurant that's amazing and probably better than the restaurants you have near you guys. So what'd you get, John?
I got a massive steak.
Got a huge steak.
A massive
What? Are
steak
you
with some
serious?
fries. Yeah.
Was I here when you ordered?
No. Some chimichurri.
What is that?
Chimichurri?
I don't know what chimichurri
It's
is.
basically you have a steak and you break up a churro and spread it on top. That's not true at all. It's like parsley and garlic.
Chimichurri. What are you getting, Debbie?
I don't remember.
You got enchiladas.
Debbie's been drinking lots of wine.
Fast.
I had several cocktails already. This is like the second day.
Yeah, Joel has had 2 cocktails already.
I had what kind? I had like a blue. I like. Yeah. So apparently I woke up like, was it yesterday? Yeah.
This morning?
I'm so
It's only been one.
This morning.
Only been one night so far.
I woke up this morning, and I kind of freaked out for a second because I went to bed with shorts on, and woke up without shorts, and my belt was off too. Like I don't know how it got off.
You're welcome.
I think it was John. What are you getting, Joy?
Nachos.
I'm getting nachos. So
It's gonna be awesome.
yeah, it's gonna be delicious. So we're just giving you guys something to talk about and something to hope for in the future. You can have fun as well. All right, bye. All right, so this is the last bit of the recording. I'm just gonna make the sounds of fireworks because we're totally not sending this before it ends. But
Hey Joel, are you gonna catch the fireworks tonight?
yeah.
Well, you probably shouldn't because they'll burn your hand.
Oh yeah! Oh god! Paradoxes. We had the most ridiculous boat driver ever. The whole time it was just constant. Oh no! It's a hippo! Oh, it's gonna spray water on you. Oh, it was good. So, anyways, have fun, guys. Talking about boring techno crap.
Bitches.
Okay, and we're back.
You should do 90 seconds with freedom.
Wait, Squantoon, could you rattle off 90 seconds of freedom right now if I asked you
Yeah.
to? Do it.
Right,
All
yeah, right now.
All right, welcome
You
to
ready?
90 Seconds of Freedom with Squantoon, the part where America
Yes.
comes to town. Squantoon, hit it.
Everyone should be proud of Jordan for, while honoring a guy that was burned alive today by ISIS, carried out fucking airstrikes at the exact same fucking time. That's one of the greatest things that's ever happened in the history of mankind. It's fucking brilliant.
Wasn't the King of Jordan personally flying some of those missions? Like, he has military
It's a rumor,
experience.
not confirmed. He does have
Oh,
military
if
experience.
so, I'm moving. That's fantastic.
That was a
Yes.
rumor, had a good picture to go along with it. It's not confirmed yet, though.
Yeah,
I
he
don't
was
think.
probably-
I think
he
he
was-
attended the ceremony because I heard he talked to their family.
He was probably
But, like, that's a
dropping
great thing to
gilded
do, 'cause-
bombs on people.
He probably was diving out of the jet with a knife, like the commander from Battlefield
Yeah.
4. Yeah, just like
Oh,
swooping
dude.
it.
This
Fuck 'em.
pussying around thing with terrorists is really starting to fucking get on my nerves. Like, it's bad.
That is one thing about Jordan. Like, they can just wipe out a ton of people, and everyone goes, "Oh yeah, if they're a small country, they got to fight back, do it." Like,
Yeah.
Have
That's
you ever seen their
Jordan.
big military show they do every year, where all these arms, like professional arms dealers, show up? Like every country in the world shows up and spends like billions of dollars buying like rockets and javelins to go fight each other. Like it's the greatest thing on earth. There's a video on YouTube about it. It's fantastic. They got this gigantic training facility where like other countries send their spec ops forces, and they pump in like smells, like the smell of burning hair and flesh, to get people's minds ready for the shit they're gonna see. It's great. It's like a 3-day event. Like you can go buy an F-16.
I wonder if it's like esports where you see like, guys from different nations are kind of spying on each other, trying to counter-pick each other and stuff like that. Oh, these guys got lock-on fucking missiles. We better buy a fuck ton of countermeasures and all that shit.
good job,
fuck.
Jordan. You guys get the Freedom Eagle Cry of the week. Squantoon,
Yeah,
can you
they
give us an
moved
eagle?
ahead of Israel this week.
Squantoon, can you give us an Eagle Cry for Jordan?
Nah, I'm not very good at crying.
Okay,
If,
cool.
if it wasn't for a degree of almost guaranteed human rights violations that somebody somewhere is more than likely pulling off in your country, then you'd be all about freedom.
All right.
Someday these political jokes are gonna get me in a lot of fucking trouble.
I know. It's not like there's any Ireland jokes we can make, but
There's tons of Ireland jokes you can make. You can make jokes about famine. You
oh
can make
no,
jokes
I was joking. They've all I think reached the point where they're not politically correct anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can make jokes about how long it took us to kick the sorry fucking English out of here. There's all
I was
kinds of
gonna say,
stuff.
how do you guys feel about IRA jokes? Are those cool or are those not cool yet?
Well, they were always funny. You know what I mean? But I'm the kind of guy who there's never really a time where stuff isn't funny.
Yeah, me too. It's a good way of
Like-
dealing with stuff.
A perfect fucking example. I don't know how many people who end up seeing this on your channel know, but I'm like agoraphobic and whatever. And a perfect example of this is this guy in my Twitter feed that I follow earlier was like, I ran into a guy who's like level whatever in the hardline beta, and it's only 48 hours old. You need to go outside more, dude. And I replied to him going, the funny thing is I'm actually higher ranked than him and agoraphobic, so you've got a really good fucking point. And, and he replies going, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say. I feel bad for making a joke about it now. And I'm like, dude, everything's fucking funny. It's that simple.
It can be. If you have the right attitude, everything can be funny.
Yep. If you have the right attitude and the right audience, you're sorted.
The right audience makes a big difference.
Sorry, any Jordanians who are watching this.
Oh, I think they'd probably mostly be on Squantoon side.
No. See, ISIS found none of this podcast amusing.
Yeah, ISIS
I
can
hope they see
fucking
it.
bite me. If they want to go 1v1 in ARMA,
Yeah, we'll settle this thing once and for all.
yeah,
Sleazy and the Fifthly Casuals are ready to take y'all on.
Oh, imagine the desync to the Middle East, though.
Yeah, that'll be the
Fucking
problem.
hell.
You want to walk someone through how to install the mod pack in Farsi? No, I didn't think so.
These ISIS guys have lag armor. Imagine that on the actual real life battlefield. How terrifying that would be. These fucking Marines are like launching fucking rounds into these ISIS dudes, and they're just like, this hit detection is fucking terrible. Oh damn, that would suck.
Now that we've driven all the way down that weird little road, that's the podcast tonight. Thank you, Squantoon and Scanner Barkly, for coming out. Really appreciate
Anytime.
it. Thank you for lending your invaluable Battlefield opinions. Where can people...
And ARMA, come on. This is
And
like the
ARMA,
ARMA
that's
cast.
true. That's true.
Yeah,
You know,
and freedom.
we'll have you guys back sometime just to talk ARMA.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like that'd be a very productive podcast. But for people who want to find you guys and find Sleazy Company, how can they do that? I'm going to put all these links in the description of the video, but for anyone who's just going to listen to it, how can they go find your stuff?
They don't want to.
All right.
They really don't want to. Okay, right.
I'm going to
Here's the
trust
deal.
it. Go.
Here's the deal I will make with people here right now, okay? If you want to watch our stuff, that's absolutely fine. Squantoon has a fucking YouTube channel. He puts up missions on. Aaron has a YouTube channel. He puts up missions on. I put channels up on my mission. We put up like silly fucking fuck up clips and whatever.
Right.
As well. And the links will be in the description and they can follow us. Never, ever convince yourself that we're the kind of people that you want to actually play ARMA with, though. Because then you'll ask us and we'll be like, oh, we'll bring him in for one mission and then we'll hate you. And that's just the way it's going to be. It is an incredibly tough thing to deal with us because we're assholes.
Just ask the biggest source for DayZ news. He'll tell you all about it.
Yeah, pretty much. It doesn't matter. Like, and we're not just like, we're not mean to like nobodies. We're mean to everybody. Like, somebody in RTS one night was saying, oh, I can get like the lead developer of fucking DayZ in here, and I just flat out broke it down. If you get the lead developer of DayZ in this Teamspeak, I'm going to tell him his game is fucking shit. I will call him names. I will insult his family. Like, you don't want that. Like, just keep him the fuck out of here.
He tried to bring FaZe in as well. That didn't go
FaZe
quite
Clan,
so
that
well.
would have been too good. But like, watch our stuff, but hate us as people, and then we know that you're okay.
No, but in all seriousness, I think you guys' content is really good. I think you make very entertaining ARMA stuff, and I like that you don't take it too seriously, and you, more than anything else, have fun when you play stuff. So I would highly recommend people go check your stuff out. I always enjoy watching it. I always enjoy when you post anything, Scanner, about a new game, because I'm like, all right, here's gonna be 5 minutes of Scanner crapping on something I don't know much about. Let's do it.
I thought my Warface video was that was like my shining moment when it came to just really taking a dump all
That
over
was
a shitty game.
glorious. Scanner, I rewound that one a couple times, like about 30 seconds, just to hear sections of that over again.
Some of the stuff I said in that video makes me laugh now if I think about it. Oh, what a
So
shit
good.
game. Thank God for talentless developers who give me video content.
All right, so we do need to wrap this down. So thank you, Scanner. Thank you, Squantoon. Thank you, everyone who came out to listen. As always, you can follow us at Casual Shenanigans on Twitter, at Evil Viking, at Germ Gaming. Thank you to all our Patreon supporters. Please hop into TeamSpeak in like 15-20 minutes here. We're going to play us some Insurgency. And thank you to everyone who enjoys the podcast and who comes out and makes all this possible. So we appreciate
Yes,
you
Joel,
guys.
people enjoy the podcast.
Yeah, shut up, Joel. Tell Joel how much you missed him in the comments, and we will see all you guys next week. And until then, stay casual.